Now that you know what the ASP NET Core MVC framework is, it's time to add it to our application. Like most other functionality, the ASP NET Core MVC framework lives in a package that this project does not yet reference. So we'll need to add that package. And I'll do this with the shortcut that I've shown in earlier videos by simply writing the code to register the MVC middleware in my application, app.useMVC. Then I'll use the context menu to tell Visual Studio to add the package. Once the package is added and I begin to get IntelliSense, I can see that this method also accepts an optional parameter of a configuration function. In this function, you can define the route patterns that the ASP NET Core MVC middleware should be listening to. It looks like this. I'll explain the details of what's going on here in a later video, but all you really need to know right now is that this string represents the URL to be matched, and each of these placeholders defines a section of the URL and gives it a name. For example, if I navigated to /admin/users/1, that would map to the admin controller, the user's action on the controller, and the ID of 1. Now, this call is a crucial part of configuring ASP NET Core MVC, but it's only half of what is required. To demonstrate, let me run the site and show you what happens. The site is throwing an error because it has not yet been fully configured. In other words, just registering the middleware with the useMVC function was not enough. The reason I wanted to run the site was to show you this error message. It says that the ASP NET Core MVC middleware expects service information, which refers to the fact that it uses dependency injection, and those components need to be configured separately, in addition to the useMVC method. Luckily, even though the framework doesn't register those services for us automatically, it does give us a simple method to call, which will configure them using the default settings, and it even tells us right here how to call it. Please add all the required services by calling iServiceCollection.addMVC inside the call to configure services in the application startup code. So let's go ahead and do that. Note that when I write this code, Visual Studio warns me that it doesn't know about this extension method because it lives in yet another package. So I'll use the context menu to add a reference to that package and make this error go away. Okay, now that we have both the middleware registered and its services configured, let's run the site again and see what happens. What we're seeing here is the static HTML homepage again, which actually means that everything is working. It means that the ASP NET Core MVC middleware is configured, but it didn't have any controllers registered to handle the request, so it just let the request pass on through the static file middleware that I registered earlier, which offered up this static index.html page.